Well, years ago, Channels Television brought you the story of Jerry Mallo. A lot of you might remember that sport car he did and went viral. But guess what? Jerry is not staying. Just like the car is moving really fast. He's since moved as well into producing agro-equipment. Yes, we talk about agriculture a lot, but there's always that missing link, the equipment for processing and all of that. So Jerry is also right in that. And he joins us right here on the Morning Brief. Ladies and gentlemen, Jerry Mallo, Chief Executive Officer, Benny Agro, is a design engineer and so much more. You're welcome to the Morning Brief, Jerry.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's a pleasure having me here.
First thing that strikes me is the fact that you have a very calm demeanor, right? You look very gentle, but then we see the things you do and we're trying to match it. Jerry is gentle, but his outputs don't look gentle. So is that really you every time? Or this is just the face you put out?
Well, this is me. Life is just easy and straightforward, except you choose to make it complicated for yourself. But of course, the aggression you need in achieving things is not really externally, it's from the mind. The aggression internally is way more than what seems to be on the outside. So just the push to see that much is achieved is what keeps me moving.
I love that. So there's a fire inside, but you're very calm on the outside.
Yeah, if you say so.
Fantastic. So maybe quickly track your journey, because a lot of people who maybe saw you then with a sports car and they're thinking, he's now into agro. So maybe walk us through, if you can do a walkthrough of your journey in a minute for those who are still trying to get a sense of who Jerry is.
All right. Since I was much younger, primary school, I had visions, dreams of being a team lead in a car manufacturing company one day. How it was going to happen, I didn't know. I didn't have deep understanding and knowledge on what manufacturing was like, but I just knew it was a dream I had. So I kept pushing towards that until I finished my secondary school. I was fortunate to study automotive engineering in the University of Hertfordshire, London. So from there, I was there just to learn the exposure, to learn the knowledge, and see how we could come back to Nigeria and add some values to the country. So coming back from UK, I didn't have any capital to start building cars. And while in UK, I got the exposure that to make money, solve problems. Since I didn't have money to start making cars, I looked around to see what problem I could solve, and I realized I could build agricultural machineries with ease. It was something I found easy to do. So I just went into agricultural machine fabrications. I started. It was quite easier because I could start that with little to no capital. All I needed was my reputation as a person and my convincing power. So I was able to convince a few farmers, if you're able to give me just 30% of this amount, I'll be able to produce this machine for you, then you pay me the balance. And farmers were not really concerned with the finishing of the machine as of that time. They were more concerned on the workability. So with little to no work tools, I was able to produce. I started with threshers, and I was able to produce that, and they paid me. So I made the first one, made the second one. Then I got a young guy meet me and say, he knows so many farmers that I need of these machines. How many percent will I pay him if for every farmer he brings for me? And he was the first marketer. And I thought he was joking. I kept laughing over it. But before I knew, he brought the first client. And I paid him the agreed commission. He was so happy. And before I knew, he had brought the fifth, the sixth clients. And I could no longer do the work. That's how I got my first staff, the second, till the moment where we're about 40 now in the team. So I actually started by agro machines. A lot of people think is cars, but I started with agro machineries. So I was doing machine fabrication until a point where I felt I had saved a little to make the first product. My personal earnings, my salary from the fabrication is what I kept saving. And then in 2017, I was able to build the Benny Puri. We actually built that when I realized that we have a lot of graduates in Nigeria, but we have very few people who understand this manufacturing. So I just wanted to share the knowledge I had. I knew that as much as I was looking for finances, if I had the finances, who were going to be the teammates in the factory? So I wanted it to be a learning ground where I teach them
so you can
ABC.
groom more people.
Yeah, then they learn more from it. So when we have the finance, then we are able to start full-scale manufacturing. I didn't want it to just be assumption that we can do this, but rather let's make one. Another reason for that was before then I had met a lot of people for pitch decks, for investments. And because of my age, my size, it was always sounding crazy. Come and see one boy, he wants to start making cars. And that's how people kept laughing at me. I'll go to a bank and that's how the bank manager will call his colleagues and they all laugh at me. It was really funny. So it became easier when we were able to come up with the first model. So we always go there to say, this is what we've done without support. So if we're able to get this level of support to be able to achieve this. So keeping the dream alive, we kept indulging a lot of young minds. We realized that in Nigeria, this part of the country, it seems all that matters is the certificate. While we have a lot of knowledge in our minds, I have studied a lot of countries and I saw that actually the things pushing them forward are the values the minds are able to chunk out. So I kept engaging young people till the point where we made the next model, Benny Stanham.
That's why we're celebrating you, because you're an incredible guy. You beat a lot of odds to be here. And this is just the beginning. But let's go back to some of your creation before we come to agri, which for me is very, very important, given how this is fundamental. If you look at our GDP numbers, agri contributes the highest most of the time at the end of the day. So I wish you could put up that car. Let's talk about that car for a moment. I know we've covered it. For those who have never seen this, walk us through how you created this and what is this?
All right. At first, going to UK, I had the wrong understanding on what car manufacturing was. And when I went there, I actually realized that there's little to no company that produces all the parts by itself. So I started from having that understanding. But I still wanted to see how we could create jobs and do majority of the parts in Nigeria. So we started from the sketch works. I imagine a lot. I imagine what the car will look like, and we always take our inspiration from nature. And a particular animal we pick inspiration from is the hare, the wild rabbit. I grew up in the village, in a farming environment. So whenever we're farming, you just see the hare spring out from the bush.
Right.
And our dogs will chase after the hare, but won't be able to catch it. So I love that. I love the fact that the hare was very small, but it could run faster than dogs. It could go faster than cows. So I converted those knowledge to engineering. How can I get small machines to perform tasks bigger than more than the bigger machines that we will see? So picking those inspiration, and a hare can stop at almost no time in high speed. It can maneuver, turn. So I love that features and always kept imagining how we could apply them on cars. So I started from sketchworks and I went to modeling, which is the typical process every vehicle you see on the road go through. The clay, it's the oldest and the most traditional way of doing design. So I do the miniature sizes and then I get to doing the life sizes of the vehicle. That's where you have the first privilege of seeing what the vehicle looks like, and you have the leverage of correcting and making it look finer to suit your designs. So after that, we make the molds out of available materials. Since we don't have sophisticated state-of-the-art equipment to bring out the molds, we make use of plaster of Paris, as simple as that, some plastic clays, metallic sheets to make some of the molds ourselves. Then we make use of fiberglass. The advantage the fiberglass has is you can easily maneuver it to take any form you've had. So I think on the screen there is the first stage of the fiberglass. Building our chassis inside of it, taking advantage of metallic tubes to give it the structural strength that it needs, and calculating the shock absorbance at high crashes.
Yeah.
So we've been targeting to see where if you watch Formula One races, you see them crash at 300 kilometers and they're out and waving. So the curiosity of what keeps them safe How can we apply these things on our day-to-day vehicles?
You know that formula, they have the guards inside the vehicle that keeps them. It's not like a normal vehicle where you just use a seatbelt. They have the guards inside.
Exactly. So our vehicles are designed with those similar kind of features. So even at crashes at high speed, your safety is almost guaranteed to the brim.
And you're looking at, I know we've talked about this quite a lot.
Benny Stanham, right?
Yes,
Benny Stanham. Are you looking at producing it on commercial scale, or you're still focusing on agro for now? Because clearly that's a pressing need.
So yes, we have intentions and plans on going commercial, but maybe not necessarily the sports cars. We've had a lot of questions, why sports cars in a country like this? Sports cars is one of the most difficult form of automotive manufacturing. It is where you have tight conditions to work with. The car shouldn't go above a meter. This car with this amount of fuel should be able to have this performance. At this speed, you should be able to stop with these few seconds. It has the tightest of conditions and rules. So that is just the reason why I picked sports cars to start with. So the rest of the teammates are able to push their thoughts to the limit. And once we have the basic investments we need, then our focus is going to be on the day-to-day vehicles, though still having the sports lane online, yes. Right. So the plan is to go hybrid, to go electric at some point, and see how we are able to come up with buses, SUVs, and other commercial vehicles daily used around.
I'm concerned about replicating this across the board, and I think that we need to start connecting the dots. You talked about people being big on certificates, but really the truth is certificate should imply you have knowledge. You're able to use that knowledge. So it's not just carry paper. Let's see what you can do. So I don't know, are you partnering with schools? Have schools reached out? Because I expect that we should have this. This is what our engineering department
should be doing.
This is what it should be coming out with. I know I've seen some of these things here and there. I've seen some building, the tricycles, electric tricycles,
some robotics,
even some vehicles somewhere, but you don't see this widespread. So is it something that you've been approached for? Is it something you've seen? How can we really connect that?
Yeah, I think this will do us a lot of good as a country if we have encouragement around the practical field in schools. Currently, we have been partnering with a few of institutions, technical institutions, including the prestigious University of Jos, Plateau State, where we're from. We have times where we interact with the students, give them certain level of exposures, and sometimes learn from them in return. So yes, there are a couple of institutions knocking on our doors daily to have these kind of collaborations and see how we give the students the experience on how to produce this. We've had students on intern with us who at the end were able to build a drivable vehicle. So I believe it starts from somewhere. I'm sure if we go down history and trace the first vehicles Mercedes made, the Ferraris made, we'll see that they were not perfect. They were not the best of designs, but over the years they've evolved and now have those. So we just want to see platforms where more of this can come.
Just out of curiosity, this car is still there, right?
Yes, it is.
Is it the car you use? Is it the one you drive around?
No, it's not.
How many of these do you have so far? Just this?
A few samples. We've made a couple of them, destroyed a couple of them.
What do you mean by destroy?
In the quest of research, we want to see what it will look like on crash test. We drive it to the limit. We want to see what it looks like at how it handles turns at high speed, and we want to see the performance at different temperatures and all that. We destroy the engine sometimes due to tests, sometimes the body panels and all that, and we keep rebuilding.
How much did it cost you to do this?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Putting it in figures is quite a lot, but I know it's basically all my earnings that keep going into this. So it's a lot. It's my whole life's investments going into this.
So next year, what's next year looking like for you?
Next year, I think the whole focus is going to be on agricultural equipment. With the high level of insecurities, there's their need to replace human efforts with machineries. Right. So we are focused on seeing how, rather than having 10 people on the farm, we have one person operating a machine, on the farm, which we're still planning on gradually going to where these machines are autonomous, where they operate themselves with internet access and all that. So, but we are focused on seeing that we make agricultural activities easier, more affordable, and yielding more results. So far, we've been collaborating with women a lot. Women are the backbones of most of our farmers. So we try to see where we visit villages, communities, we interact with them, we hear the most difficult aspects of agriculture for them, come back, make designs, and produce those equipments. We've worked around cassava machines, cultivation machines, planters, threshers, and processing machines. So we see, for example, for cassava now, you have women gather up in the community center and keep peeling cassava for the whole day, for the whole week.
When a machine can just do that, right?
Yeah, so we're able to successfully come up with machines where it easily peels it, grates it, presses it, fries it, converts to different products, and just to see how more values could be done.
I don't know why the banks are not rushing you. They should be rushing you.
I imagine they are already.
This is where the funny part of what we do is your imagination is quite wrong to an extent.
we have 30 seconds.
Okay, so the banks are willing to encourage, but of course there are certain criteria you have to meet up to, which one of the key is collateral. So at my age and having the few years in the business, what collateral do I have to give? Most times you give collaterals twice or three times the amount you are requesting for. And for a business like manufacturing business, the amount you need is quite huge. So you struggle to get third-party collateral. And when you get the third-party collateral, you will have to be servicing the third party, and you also be servicing
your loan.
Sometimes a double-digit loan.
I think this is where we need to call in Naseni for him, and that's the role of Naseni and all of that. So that's why we're amplifying.
I'm glad you made this point. I think it's central to what everyone do. We need money, but I'm glad we're able to put out these issues, and we'll definitely be following through with it. Jerry, thank you so much for your time. Always great to see you.
Thank you so much.
We've been speaking with Jerry Mallo, Chief Executive Officer, Benny Agro, Design Engineer. And, well, I just say all-round brilliant guy. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So we hope we've been able to inspire you. There's a lot of things stop you from achieving the things you want to achieve. But this is where we'll draw the curtains on the show this morning. Don't forget, Sunrise Daily is next. I'm Kayode Okikule.
And I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.